Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. Tonight, we are recapping the week's nerdy news from the writer's room to the picket line and everywhere in between. My name is Mike Gibson. With me, as always, is Steve Haller. What's up, Steve?
Oh, just hanging out with the picketers out at the WGA strike.
Yeah. Big story this week. The Writers Guild of America has gone on strike against specifically television studios, I believe. Well, I guess it's everything. It's everything. Just like
I think the impetus was primarily because of that, but it's the general WGA.
Yeah, they're really talking about streaming. I think is a part of the ongoing negotiations has to do with streaming and rights and contracts and things like that. There, we kind of heard that this was coming a few weeks ago, and they could not come to an agreement, and now the writers are on strike. They're striking for things like increased wages, benefits, and job security is a big thing. Apparently studios are trying to implement policies where they don't necessarily have to hire a certain number of writers or have to keep them employed for any amount of time, like just really trying to skim where they can skim, and it's not beneficial to anyone that's trying to make screenwriting their career, or people that have made screenwriting their career.
Along those lines, I don't know if you remember Breckin Meyer.
Yeah,
the actor from the 90s.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's become a fairly prolific writer, and they showed a sign of him on the picket line, and you know how sometimes they write funny things on their signs or whatever. His said something about stop the strike, you don't want me acting again.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's good.
I saw a lot of funny signs.
Yeah. The writers,
they're the writers that are ones that are striking, so it makes sense that the signs are going to be top notch. The WGA, Writers Guild of America, they have made public their demands, what they are asking for. They have released them. You can look at it. It's very interesting. And they also included in the same document, they have what the studios countered with. If they accepted the demand, it notes that, and I don't think they did anything. If they countered with anything, they note that. And if they rejected it without a counteroffer, they note that. And that is on there a lot, quite a bit. So like studios are compromising with some of the demands, otherwise just outright rejecting without offering a better solution. So hence they're on strike. So what's this mean? This means that movies and TV shows and things that you like, they're just not going to be moving forward currently. Nothing is in development anymore until the strike's over, which is wild. There's been speculation on how long it's going to last, but I've heard anywhere between 3 months and 6 months.
And that's about what I've seen around.
Yeah, and I've heard recently that it's going to be 3 to 4 months before studios really start like kind of feeling the pressure, because, and certainly films, like movies are done so far in advance that we're going to be fine movie wise for like a while. When I say we, I mean,
the general,
they're not going to delay The Flash again. Yeah. Any movie that's coming out this year is likely already done, and it's in the can. But TV, on the other hand, that's not the case. And TV is probably going to start suffering or seeing the consequences of this strike before film will. A lot of productions have announced that they have already shut down, including Saturday Night Live. Marvel's Blade says that they have shut down, and they just got a new writer, so they weren't even close to being able to film anything anyway. And Stranger Things also has shut down production because of the strike. I also saw some other shows have said that they will continue to proceed filming, claiming that the episodes are already written. Two of the biggest ones that I saw being House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. I don't necessarily think that's smart of them to do, because a lot of people, I've read a lot of stuff saying that like writing's not done just because cameras are rolling. Like scripts are being tweaked all the time. Like lines are being changed or swapped out or improved. Like, and any of that, regardless of how casual it is, counts as writing and therefore counts as crossing the picket line and scabbing.
So the thing
term.
I want to say both of them are affected by is this is a WGA strike.
Yeah.
And I want to say production for both of them is based out of the UK.
Could
or
be.
one, or I remember reading that for one or both of them. I can't remember which. This was like 2 days ago, where yes, it's.
But I'm sure there's American writers on those though.
I don't know. I want to say one of the two. I distinctly remember seeing that. This is great. Like me saying something completely out of my ass that I remembered reading, but like there are those minor, edge cases where something like that could keep something running.
Yeah, it just makes me it makes me nervous for season 2 of both those shows, or any show that's going to continue to film without having writers. Because either you're crossing the picket line while you're filming, which is bullshit, or you're not going to be able to make any tweaks, and those shows might suffer. Do you remember the first time? When was the last writer's strike? Was 2006?
Something like that, yeah.
7 or something. And a lot of shows that were on the air at that point either stopped or saw massive dips in quality. We all know the 3rd season of Lost, not the best season of that show. And it is largely pointed to because of the writer's strike. Things like so I don't know. I think it's a gamble for studios to continue making these things without writers.
Okay, so I was wrong on that.
Okay.
For the record, both of them are, as you're saying, initial scripts were completed and they're going forward with writing or with filming, which I am 100% with you. Seems like a very dumb idea. Especially
for House of the Dragon and Rings of Power are both based on works that are in-depth worlds and races of people, and there's so much lore there.
Mm-hmm.
That if you get that wrong or you mess it up or you don't treat it with the right respect or whatever, you're gonna enrage your fan base.
Oh, and you know who's one of those writers? The guy who wrote the damn books.
Right. Yeah.
George R.R. Martin.
And you'd think the network that made Game of Thrones might know a little bit about what happens when you skew too far from the source material and start making stuff up on the fly. Your series may not end as strongly as it started. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. And I was listening to earlier today, an episode, the most recent episode of the Hot Mic podcast. We've mentioned it on this show before with Jeff Snyder and John Roca. And they were talking about the strike too. And they brought up a great point that I hadn't thought of. How is this going to affect things if this is still going on through the summer, which people are saying that it might, how is it going to affect something things like Comic-Con or film, promotion of these movies that were written? How many actors are going to start being okay promoting movies? Do they not talk about the writing during this strike going on? Is it how what's the word I'm looking for? How ethical is it for actors and other people to start promoting these films when the people that wrote them are standing outside the building on a picket line?
Yeah.
And that still goes for film reviewers and journalists that may be part of the WGA. They're not going to be writing reviews of the movies that the studios are putting out for people to read to decide whether or not they want to go see them. And I guess that's part of where the studios will start feeling the pressure. If the word isn't getting out about these, if the promotion isn't there anymore because the people that write that promotion aren't able to do it because they're on strike.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And almost so much of what we talk about in the show are like projects that are in development. Like we're going to talk about Superman in a little bit, and I think James Gunn has released a statement about how he is, he is in support of the WGA. I don't know, because he wrote Superman Legacy. I don't know the rules. Like, can he still make Superman Legacy since he's the writer? Like, does that make a difference? I don't know.
Yeah,
But it'll be interesting to see like what's going to get delayed. Like we're about to talk about all these things that are in development.
And they're going to be in development for a while because can't really
while
finalize
longer.
the script without anyone to write it.
I know. And there's also, this is the most terrifying part of this whole thing for me, is that there are also rumors that studios are looking into or already deciding to attempt to use AI, artificial intelligence programs, to write some scripts while the writers are on strike. Possibly, Jeff Snyder said this on the Hot Mic podcast. He's hearing possibly scripts that are based on existing public domain works. So they're not asking a computer to come up with a story by itself, which I don't think would be good at all. And not that I think this would be good either, but I guess the idea is that if you feed a computer, Dracula or something that's in the public domain, it could rewrite that story or use that in a way to make a new version of it. And then the studios, apparently, the report is that the studios would then hire real writers to polish those scripts once the strike is over. I think and I feel like, the writers are talking about they're striking for some job security, and I think this is probably part of it. Like they don't want their jobs to be taken away by a computer, and I don't want that either. I don't think a computer is really ever, I'll say it, ever going to be able to write a story as good as a human that feels emotion will be able to. I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me on, Twitter or whatever, but a lot of blue checks on Twitter that think AI is the future, but they're dumb. It's not. It's not. Or it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. So I hope that's not true. I hope that doesn't happen. Because I feel like I wouldn't want to watch any movie that was AI. I just wouldn't.
I mean, you could watch the movie AI.
Right, which was written and directed by human beings.
Oh,
Sure.
That's how that worked?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're probably the ones that are striking now, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably.
Got it.
It would have been cool if they made that movie with only artificial intelligence. That was like a rule.
Don't give them ideas.
Mm.
They're going to rewrite the movie. They're going to feed them that movie and say, come up with a script that sucks less. And go for it. See what ChatGPT can come up with.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's going to be a thing that we probably mention or talk about or touch on quite a bit until it's over. So get ready for that, loyal listeners. Speaking of loyal listeners, Steve, shout out to anyone who listened to all 2.5 hours of May the 4th Star Wars movie ranking episode that we put out last week. Our friend of the pod, Matt Peseta, joined us and ranked our favorite 11 live-action Star Wars films with some help from our listeners that filled out a survey letting us know their rankings so we could kind of tabulate those numbers as well. Thank you so much to anybody that sent in your ranking. That episode is available. And like I said, it is 2.5 hours long, but it's a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we had fun doing it. Can't say we're going to do it again next year, but we'll figure out
something else.
Star Wars to do. Yeah, maybe something else.
I mean, there's only so much that the 11 rankings will change in a year, so
right.
Yeah.
But I will say that something that we talked about in that episode was a joke towards the end about how we should make T-shirts, and the first T-shirt that we should make should say "Yub Nub for Life" on it. I did have one person reach out to me and say, just FYI, if you guys did make a Yub Nub for Life T-shirt, I would definitely buy one. So just putting that in your brain, we have at least one sale already in the books.
And I know people that can make those shirts very easily.
All right. I mean, I would buy one too.
Same.
I would. Yeah. So there's 3.
We got 3.
I guess. We got 3.
I'd have to make one I would definitely have to make one for my son though, because he is obsessed with Yub Nub. So.
My son's not, but he'd wear it if we threw like an Ewok on there somehow without getting sued by Lucasfilm.
I might have ways around that too.
Yeah, we can figure that out. Moving on to some actual nerdy news. Got the trailer for Dune Part 2 came out this week. Dune, Denis Villeneuve's massive epic to, or the sequel, the massive epic sequel to his massive epic Dune Part 1.
Yep.
Came out this week. Steve, what'd you think of this trailer?
It looks great.
Yeah, looks like more Dune.
It looks like more Dune. It looks like, and how to go spoiler free without going. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, because I don't know the story. I haven't.
All of the crazy that you saw is probably the first half of the movie.
Oh wow! So they're holding a lot back.
And you saw enough crazy to be like filling a whole movie. So
yeah, there was a lot of crazy. There was sandworm riding. There was some knife fighting. There was Spice running free. There were some weird looking people. There's some weird black and white cuts, like stark contrast black and white stuff.
And those will all make slightly more sense
in
the context of the movie. Fun fact, the Harkonnen that you're thinking of, the bald chalky guy,
yes.
You know who he was played by in the 1984 Dune adaptation?
I know some people that were in that movie, but I don't know who they played, so I'm going to say no.
Sting.
That was Sting. Okay, yes. I knew Sting was in it.
Yep.
I didn't know that's who he played.
Played Ralph Harkonnen. So that's
all right.
Yeah, that'll be I'm very excited for this movie, especially at the level that the first one set for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't have a tie to the source material. I thought the first one was great. But I did think it was very long.
Yes.
But I also think Denis Villeneuve is a great filmmaker. And the look and feel of the first one was great. And it looks like just exactly that same look and feel to the part 2, which makes for some good connectivity. And didn't they when did Dune come out? Last year? 2 years ago?
2 years ago?
2 years ago, right?
I think 2 years ago.
But they hadn't announced Dune 2 until after the first one came out. Like they didn't greenlight. They hadn't started making this movie until after the first one came out.
I think they had scripts. I just don't think they went full blown started going at it.
But still, the scale at which this dude makes movies, I feel like it's a short clock.
Yeah,
on a
100%.
movie that is this big, but it's still, from that trailer, it looks great. It looks really good.
Yeah, I don't know if you also realize that Princess Aurelian is Florence Pugh.
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, big. There was star-studded cast of the first one too, and a lot of those people are moving on into this one. Plus, we're getting more Zendaya. We're getting Florence Pugh.
Apparently, Tim Blake Nelson is going to be in it in an undisclosed role.
Oh, excellent. We get Rebecca Ferguson back. We get Timothy Chalamet,
Javier
Bardem, and Dave Bautista.
That cut of him, the cut back to Javier Bardem when Timothy Chalamet is trying to ride the sandworm.
Yeah.
It was just great that quick cut back and forth, and it was good.
Yeah. So, let us know if you're excited for Dune.
Also,
what? Go ahead.
That you may not have known for casting. Did you know Christopher Walken is going to be in this movie?
No.
Christopher Walken will be the Emperor.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
I feel like he hasn't done anything in a long time.
Well, he's doing this.
And he used to do everything.
The last thing I can remember him was as King Louis in The Jungle Book. So.
Yeah, you're right. That's the last thing I know I'm sure he probably did.
Yeah, he had to have been in something since then, but.
I feel like in the 2000s, he just wouldn't stop working. I feel like he said yes to every script that came to him.
It was
he was in some great stuff and some terrible stuff.
It was in the post more cowbell era.
Right. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah,
interesting.
Since he's in Severance on TV on TV, which I've heard is phenomenal.
Oh,
But
yeah, me too.
he was in Peter Pan Live, apparently. He was Captain Hook in Peter Pan Live.
Oh, I remember hearing that. That was years ago.
Definitely didn't see that. He was in The Jesus Rolls, the sequel to The Big Lebowski.
There's a sequel to The Big Lebowski?
Well, it's a spin-off of The Big Lebowski based on John Turturro's character.
Oh, my God. I remember that. I remember that being announced, and I forgot all about it. Is it a Coen? Did the Coen brothers make it, though?
No, it is
I was gonna say.
written, directed, and starring John Turturro.
Wow.
Yep.
I should watch that. I should watch that because I love John Turturro.
I'm mildly intrigued now. Yeah, since The Jungle Book, he did Father Figures, Irreplaceable You, The Jesus Rolls, The War with Grandpa, Percy, Wild Mountain Time, and now Dune Part 2.
Wow. All right. Well, he's still out there then. I'm wrong. Sorry to doubt you, Christopher Walken.
Never doubt Christopher Walken. Also, who
Never doubt
knows?
Christopher
Who
Walken.
knows how big of a part any of those are?
Yeah,
It could
you're
just be, hey, I'm just cashing a paycheck and calling it a day.
right. Yeah. What's your favorite Christopher Walken role?
Jesus, I don't even know.
Mine is 100% him as Max Schreck in Batman Returns. I think he's incredible and hilarious in that movie. So funny. Great villain.
See that? I mean, most of what I ever remember him as is like quick one-shots and cameos or like small bit parts here and there.
Yeah, like he's got the smallest role in like Pulp Fiction, but it's great.
I was literally just going to say Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Your father's watch.
Wayne's World 2.
Who's he in Wayne's World 2?
Bobby Khan.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yep.
Max Schreck in Batman Returns.
He's in Sleepy Hollow too. He's like
Yep.
the Hessian soldier. I almost said Hessian because of watching The Last Jedi recently, and the DJ character asked for Haitian smelt. So it was my Haitian smelt meets Hessian soldier. Came out.
Haitian?
Hessian. Instead of Hessian.
He's in Joe Dirt too. Cool.
Yeah, he did a bunch of like he's in Click, the Adam Sandler movie. Like that's what I mean. Like he just
Catch
did
Me
anything.
If You Can.
Like
Pull Hall Junkies.
Oh yeah, he's great in Catch Me If You Can.
I've never seen
Yeah.
Catch Me If You Can. I've heard good
dude,
things.
it
but
is excellent. That is
nice.
a great movie.
Man
Very
on
good.
Fire.
I mean, Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks, and Leonardo DiCaprio.
And
got the
apparently
makings right
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, that's true.
There we go.
All right.
Cool.
So that's our talk about Dune Part 2.
That's our talk about
how
Christopher
great-
Walken.
That's our talk about Christopher Walken.
Thank you for coming to our Christopher Walken segment. Moving on.
Yeah. Moving on. I got some DC news. This is a pretty light week for news. Like the Dune trailer is probably the biggest thing. Like there's some kind of updates and small rumors and report. Like we're talking about more unconfirmed reports this week than I normally like to talk about. Mostly till we get to Marvel stuff. But and no one shots. I put all the stuff that would be one shots I put into our regular show just because I feel like there wasn't a whole lot going on. But Steve, you just got to look on your face like you thought of something that I didn't.
No, because I was in my brain. I was like, did the Marvels trailer drop this week? And then I'm like, no, we talked about that a couple weeks ago.
Oh, we talked about that. Yeah.
But I recently they showed it at the beginning of Guardians, so it was in my brain. I was like, wait, wait, no.
Yeah. All these weeks really do run together for me a lot. I'm like, did we talk about that last week? Did we talk about that? What? Yes.
Right.
I mean, it's a little like I feel like it's a little easier for me to remember because I'm the one that puts all the rundown together.
Yeah.
So I like remember what I'm deleting and then replacing, and you just see a new one every week.
Okay, something else showed up. Cool. This is
Anyway,
why you
we
keep
got-
show notes, folks.
Yeah, that's right. We got a report this week that the casting of Superman, while we know that it's one of the biggest castings going on in Hollywood right now, and that is already underway, still a few months away from hearing anything official, according to a report from Deadline. Scooper Justin Kroll from Deadline says basically every rep who has a client in Hollywood has submitted an audition tape for the role of Clark Kent, and apparently James Gunn and Peter Safran have pledged to watch every single one of them. So it's going to be some time, especially with James Gunn still doing promotion for Guardians 3 for probably a few more weeks. It's going to be a little bit of time. So it might put us sometime in the summer, which might put us at San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, I feel like if DC's going to have a presence at Comic-Con and they don't drop something like this, like who's going to be Superman, then they're missing a huge opportunity. Unless if they have somebody cast by then, like just save it for Comic-Con. Like,
yeah,
you telling me there's going to be a new Superman at that's the story for the week. Marvel announced their slate last year. That was like the big thing. We get a new Superman. That's all anyone's going to be talking about. So, play your cards right there, DC. We're going to talk about casting rumors later too. Like, I feel like I've read rumors, but we're still so early days that I feel like there's no knowledgeable way to talk about who we think is going to be Superman. Like, we could say who we want or pick somebody, but there's no way. I feel like, what do you think about this, Steve? And which would you prefer? I feel like they're gonna go with more of an unknown actor. They're not gonna cast this is a bad example. They're not gonna cast a Brad Pitt. Or they're not gonna cast Timothée Chalamet or someone that is widely recognized, very known and has played a lot of roles. They're gonna go with somebody from a TV show or a character actor who's never had a lead, that kind of thing. They're going to go with a completely fresh face.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that's probably the way they should go. I mean, outside of recasting Henry Cavill, just because I thought that was a great cast. If you're going to restart fresh, then do it with someone that's, you can mold and that is going to grow into the part.
Yeah. Because if you get someone that doesn't have a bunch of credits or even any credits to their name, you completely avoid the what do you mean Ben Affleck's going to be Batman,
right.
Explosion, or what do you mean Heath Ledger's going to be the Joker? Like people have flipped out when that stuff was, because we saw them in other stuff. Therefore, some people could not picture them as their hero or whatever. But if you've never seen anybody, you've never seen this person in anything else, then how do you know they're going to be a bad Superman? You can't claim that. So certainly keeps that on the DL. And that's what I would prefer. Additional Superman news. We've talked about on and off in this podcast, especially when it was announced that there was over a year and a half ago, they announced that J.J. Abrams was producing a Superman movie for HBO that was going to be written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And it was heavily rumored that at some point this was going to be a feature theatrical film. Who knows what anymore, if it's going to be an HBO Max thing or whatever. But a lot of people thought it was dead when Gunn and Safran took over. And now James Gunn apparently has come out in an interview and said that it still possibly could happen. He said those two things are totally unrelated. And I think what he means is his Superman movie versus Ta-Nehisi Coates' Superman movie. So those two things are totally unrelated. I know that Chantel Nong, who is the executive on that project, is extremely excited about it. So if it comes in and it's great, which I haven't read the script, and if the timing is right, that could absolutely happen. It would be an Elseworlds tale like Joker. So still a possibility of getting an additional Superman movie, possibly a black Clark Kent or a black Superman. Do you, Steve, think that it would be... How much Superman is too much Superman, I guess, is what I'm saying. If we're getting a new one in the DCU, and we still got Superman and Lois going on, and whatever, cartoons or whatever happen to be going at the same time, and we get another one, how much Superman is too much Superman?
I don't know. It's weird because he's probably your strongest brand on the DC side. As far as recognizable, it's
he's
a coin flip between him and Batman, but he hasn't been in stuff recently.
I was gonna say he should be, but he hasn't been because Warner Brothers has been scared to touch him for so long.
Yeah.
But as far as recognizable, everyone knows the Superman symbol. Everybody, whether you read comics or not. Yeah.
And it's kind of weird that they haven't utilized him more. I mean,
it's insane. It's insane, straight up.
So I mean, I guess you've got to toe that line between wanting to oversaturate something that people haven't seen, but if it's like 2 separate takes, you've got 3 Batman right now.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, I think there's room for it for sure, especially if this is like a one-off film. I think there's definitely room for like, a white Clark Kent in movies, a white Clark Kent in TV, and either, whether it's a black Clark Kent or it's like Calvin Ellis or something like a different black, like officially black version of a Superman character, then that makes it different enough. The fact that even if it was a black Clark Kent, like the experience of that character is going to be wildly different from the white Clark Kent, pretty much. So like it's going to feel different enough,
right,
to separate it. So I don't
they
think
just don the same suit. I mean, it's going to be similar to like we have, if they started going into Bat Family stuff, like okay, somebody's got a bat on their chest, cool.
Right.
Like somebody's got an S on their chest. We've already seen Supergirl in The Flash. We've already got these 2 rumored. Like you said, Superman and Lois. You've got all sorts of super people out there. I just watched League of Super Pets. Cosmo's chilling.
Right.
Like,
John Krasinski as Superman in that.
Yes.
Movie.
Yep. And Keanu Reeves as Batman.
Love it. Love Keanu Reeves as Batman in that movie. He's great.
And no matter what, with the Ta-Nehisi Coates thing, the writing is at least in good hands because
for sure,
like he's just great.
Yeah. So, and I think, according to like what James Gunn has said about stuff in the past, like the stuff that's going to be Elseworlds has to be really good in order to stay there, and also that they are going for quality over quantity, and they're really like kind of respecting the writers and making sure that things are written very well before they shoot. So,
so it might be a real long time now.
Yeah, you're right. Like this is the kind of thing we're talking about. Is this like how many of these Superman movies might be delayed? Like now that the writers are on strike, I don't know. But he respects a vision and he respects a writer enough to, to know whether or not it's good, I guess, and to, he would know if it's going to stand out or be too close or whatever. So I would love to see it. I hope it happens. Speaking of what you said about the multiple Batman, when the Flash trailer played before Guardians, my wife hadn't seen the new trailer.
Yep.
And she liked it. And but afterwards she goes, so wait, is Robert Pattinson in this one? I was like, no, not Robert Pattinson, just the 2 other Batman
all
actors.
Of the rest of them.
Yeah.
Actually, the trailers,
everybody else.
Right. The trailers were a good test for me to see what there was a chance of my wife actually enjoying.
Yeah.
Flash didn't pass the muster.
Oh, bummer.
There wasn't a whole ton of them that did. So.
Yeah. Doing some Marvel talk. These are those unconfirmed reports we talked about earlier. This is according to a report from a site called the Cosmic Circus, which I'd never heard before. Apparently, this website is reporting that Loki season 2 has been delayed, and not that we had an official date for it, but I looked. Seemingly, Marvel said to be targeting a mid to late summer release date, now being pushed to fall, possibly October. Not a surprise to hear this based on things that Bob Iger has said about Disney cutting back, and we for a while thought that we were going to see this in 2023. Then we thought that we maybe weren't going to see it in 2023. Maybe Secret Invasion was going to be the only Marvel show. Makes sense that if we did get it, it would definitely be in the back half of the year. Steve, how likely do you think that this is being delayed because of the writer's strike, or how likely do you think this is being delayed because of the problems with Jonathan Majors, who is apparently still a part of this series?
So they came out and said that Majors will still be in this.
Yeah.
They did, because everything's been shot and it's effectively in post at this point.
It's exactly what we talked about when we were going over the differences between Jonathan Majors and Ezra Miller a couple episodes ago.
Yeah.
Whatever. Like, the Flash is still coming out because the studio spent the money already. Like
Yeah.
it's been paid for. Like this Loki season 2 is going to happen regardless of what happens with
Right.
majors.
It's already
I
been
think
filmed.
Marvel's
It's already there.
Yeah. Right.
But
Marvel's just in a worse situation really where what is going to happen with Jonathan Majors is still kind of up in the air, although I think most of us have already seen the writing on the wall here. But anyway, sorry.
right,
I
and
feel
I've
like
got
I
a hunch
cut you off.
that may be the biggest reason we haven't heard anything on Majors is that he is like, because Loki season 2 is still a thing.
Yeah.
To not cut ties till after, or like they didn't write when it happened, so it may be either something more egregious. Is it possible to be more egregious? There's plenty of things that could be more egregious, but not too many.
Yeah.
That if another shoe drops, or if Loki season 2 comes out, then maybe they're like, all right, now we can officially say it, he's done.
I mean, yeah, that's what I think Warner Brothers is doing with Ezra Miller. I think they're just not saying anything about it until the movie comes out, and then sorry, he's not going to continue.
Yep.
Sorry, they're not going to continue. So yeah, I don't know. Could be any of these things. I feel like certainly could be writer's strike, as well as we know Marvel has the habit of filming stuff before it's done being written. So I feel like
that's never happened.
It could be Marvel might take a big hit on this strike if it keeps going. Like productions maybe just grinded to a halt, even that ones that are already filming or even close to being done. Like even like in post production, they like have rewritten scenes and refilmed stuff, like gone back at the last minute. So who knows? I think Marvel might be in for some trouble if this strike goes on a lot longer. Some more unsubstantiated. I don't know. This isn't even really a story, I guess. It just there's been a lot more Fantastic Four rumors this week. We've heard that
one?
at what did I skip? Loki season 2?
Oh no, you shifted around. I copied an earlier portion of the.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
Don't throw me off.
I moved it around so we could stay on unsubstantiated rumors all in one big cluster.
It is true. The big one is substantiated.
The one that we're going to get to after this?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. The one that everybody's waiting for.
100%.
Yeah.
Biggest news in Marvel ever.
In Marvel history. I don't know why we didn't open the show with it, Steve. We heard this week that Adam Driver has officially accepted the role of Reed Richards. Again, this is unsubstantiated. We heard that they offered that Margot Robbie is being offered the role of Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. But Mila Kunis is still being talked about as being a part of this movie and maybe being the thing. Still, like even though she said she wasn't, I don't. There's just a lot of stuff going on out there. Apparently, there's some credence behind the Antonio Banderas being Galactus. I don't know, but it's all like I feel like the Adam Driver one is the most concrete that I've heard. Margot Robbie dropped this week. Like, I'd kind of be surprised if Margot Robbie wanted to keep playing superheroes. I mean, she's already Harley and she's great at it, and she's also going to be Barbie. Like, is she also then going to be another Marvel hero at the same time? Like, she's a great actress. I don't know if she wants to just spend her entire life doing superhero or genre films like this. Also, on that Hot Mic podcast I listened to earlier, Jeff Snyder made a great point where he said, I wouldn't report on Margot Robbie being offered this role because she gets offered everything. He said it's like people offering Leonardo DiCaprio, Brad Pitt stuff. Like they get offered everything because they're the biggest stars in the world. They're Oscar nominated or Oscar winning actors. So like everyone wants Margot Robbie in their project,
right?
So that's a good point.
And everybody wants her because she's shown she has the range to pull off.
Yeah, because right. Yeah, she's a great actor. So
probably similar to Adam Driver in the sense that, like, of course he was offered it.
Yeah, I mean, he's someone that we've heard for so long that that's why I feel like that one has the most weight to it, just because we've heard his name attached to Reed Richards in varying levels of confirmation or varying levels of rumor for like a long time. But again, Steve, this is another movie or process that could be affected by the writer's strike. who know? We don't know really where this is. Like, would they bother announcing a cast if they have to delay production? Do we not? Maybe we don't get. At this point, I feel like we may not get this until Comic-Con. Like, this could be another giant announcement for Comic-Con if they do it. Like, if we're not gonna get it till like June, then you might as well wait till July.
Right.
Like it just
It makes
seems
sense. Like, do it on
it
the
makes
biggest
sense.
stage.
Yeah, save it. Like, let that hype build, and then it explodes when Adam Driver and Margot Robbie walk out on stage, or who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? The one casting that we can confirm, and this is what we talked about earlier, everybody's favorite, and the wait is over, people. The wait is over for this Marvel casting, recasting, I should say. I mean, we did a special episode. I don't know why, but we should have done a special episode on this. Remember, we did a special episode when we heard Hugh Jackman was coming back as Wolverine,
That's true.
and this is even bigger. So it's insane that we didn't record this as a separate episode, because this would really put our name on the podcast map, I think.
It shakes the foundations of the Marvel universe.
It really does. Deadpool 3 casting confirmation. The return of Peter. Yep.
That's it. Rob Delaney is
Yep.
officially back as Peter in Deadpool 3.
Yeah. Everyone's favorite member of X-Force. Just a totally normal human average guy that showed up, and they let him be on the team. Does he get crushed by a garbage truck in that movie, or like a weed whacker or something? Doesn't he get sucked into like some kind of machine, I think? Isn't Deadpool like trying to like pull his legs out and then his legs like detach? I don't really remember. It's very funny.
No,
Pretty
he
gruesome.
was trying to pull somebody. Was it? I can't remember who. It might have been Zeitgeist that he was trying to pull out of the wood chipper.
Oh, okay. I thought
Yeah.
Peter went into the wood chipper.
I don't think so. I think it was the other way
Okay.
around.
All right. I gotta watch Deadpool movies again. It's
Yeah,
been too long. They're very good.
especially 2. I haven't seen 2. Like Deadpool 1, I saw a couple of times. I think I actually
Yeah.
saw it multiple times in theaters.
Mhm.
Actually, I know I saw it at least 2. Deadpool 2, I didn't see as many. Like I don't even know if I've rewatched it more than once or so.
I've watched it at least once.
Yeah.
I know I own it on Blu-ray, so I have to fire it up. I've mentioned this to you before. I think Deadpool 2 is possibly a more X-Men-y movie than any other X-Men movie. It just
Yeah.
feels more comic accurate for some reason. I don't know if it's the zaniness or the characters that they use or whatever, but good.
Yeah.
It's funny. Yeah, Rob Delaney is back as Peter in Deadpool 3, along with Morena Baccarin and the guy that's voicing Colossus and some other returning character, Dopinder, whoever plays Dopinder from
Mhm.
Deadpool. I think he's gonna be back too. Awesome. That's all the film and television news that we have for you people tonight, but we do have some comics news. Jim Lee, longtime writer, no, artist. The what?
I just Googled Deadpool 3. Deadpool 3 is severely affected by WGA strike. As Ryan
Mm.
Reynolds no longer allowed to improvise lines.
Right, that is a really good point, because improvising on set apparently counts as writing, because you're coming up with a line that's going to be said in the movie. So, like, what's the difference, right? So, yeah, movies like Deadpool 3 or actors that like to improvise, like, they can't do that. Like, Judd Apatow is someone that, like, makes movies where they, like, do a lot of, like,
Right.
improv-y stuff on site. Can't do that. Those movies are
any former
shut down.
SNL cast member's career is shot for the next couple of months.
For sure. For sure. So, yeah. Great point, Steve. Really tying the stories together. The Deadpool story tied into the writer strike story. That's some good reporting right there, Steve. Congratulations.
Right on top of it. 2 lines into
Um,
you describing Jim Lee being
Yeah. Editor, and I think what is he now? I don't know.
I think he
Chief or something of DC
Yeah.
Comics, Jim Lee. Famed comic book writer. Started at Marvel, has been at DC for a long time. One of the founders of Image Comics as well. Dude's all over the place. If you're a comic book fan, you likely know who Jim Lee is. Anyway, he is now he has been named the new president of DC Comics, I should say. He will act as president, publisher, and CCO of the DC Comics branch of Warner Brothers Discovery. Lee will continue in his primary duties at DC, where he is currently leading the creative teams as chief editor. Also, will be leading efforts to integrate DC's publishing portfolio of characters and stories across all media, supporting the brands and studios of Warner Brothers Discovery. So there's a good little corporate thing for you. Steve, thoughts on Jim Lee as an artist? Go.
I mean, the X-Men runs were quite seminal in my that was what I grew up with, was those X-Men runs. So
yeah, I would have to say legendary.
Yeah,
for sure. And then when he moved over to DC, he started crushing it immediately. Ended up on Batman. Now he just does. I don't think he doesn't do interiors. He does covers still a lot.
Yeah,
variant covers.
He definitely doesn't do as much art as he used to, but he's quite busy doing all the behind the scenes stuff. So
yeah, for sure. And Batman Hush is one of the most well known Batman stories, and he did interiors for that. Jeff Loeb and Jim Lee.
Oh, and coming full circle from our conversation earlier, Jim Lee co-created Gambit.
You're right. That's true.
So in League of Super Pets, there is a reference to throwing playing cards extremely fast at someone as a superpower. And so watch that earlier. Gambit's back. Gambit is everywhere today.
He also co-created Psylocke, right? I believe.
Did he co-create Psylocke, or was he part of the weird Betsy Quanon thing?
I think he co-created Psylocke. I know he created the cool brown and yellow Wolverine costume that I love.
Yep.
That never gets used anymore, but that's dope.
Yeah,
that's
Claremont. No, they're both Claremont and Herb Trimpe.
Oh, boo.
Psylocke and Betsy. He did create Omega Red.
Oh, interesting.
Of which I have the wonderful cover that you can't see behind other stuff because, well,
I believe
height is a thing of the first appearance of Omega Red up there.
That's right. You told me about that before.
Yep.
Cool. This week in your local comic book store, you may or may not find some of the following titles, including Amazing Spider-Man number 25, Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries number 8. Look out, Steve. Another one's out this week. I am behind on Batman Scooby-Doo Mysteries.
There's number 7.
Yep, I have that too. Haven't read it. My son has not read the last 3 issues.
Oh,
Batman Superman.
We're up through 6. We haven't gotten 7 yet. It'll be good. We can go back to back now.
Yeah, we gotta get into it. Batman White Knight presents Generation Joker. I don't know what that is, but the Batman White Knight stuff is all great, so I might pick that up. Captain Marvel number 49, Cartoon Puppet Horror Theater. I don't know what that is, but it's a great title, and it's a number 1. True. So good jumping on point. Cosmic Ghost Rider number 3, Danger Street number 6, Daredevil number 11, Extreme Venomverse number 1. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like the most 90s title
just
ever.
Nothing. Yeah, that's no. If it was a 90s title, it would just be the X instead of EX.
Oh yes, correct.
Yeah,
correct. And they'd find a way to throw a Z into the Venomverse or something somehow. Extreme Venomverse number 1. Regular Ghost Rider, not cosmic, just plain old Ghost Rider number 14.
There's a lot of spirits that need vengeance, Mike.
Oh, I know. I believe you. Ghostlore number 1. Green Lantern. Invisible Iron Man number 6. Kong Great War number 1. Kong, who is an ape, not a monkey. Nemesis Reloaded number 5. Noctera number 14. Rogue and Gambit number 3. Saga number 64. Samurai Doggy number 6. Again, sometimes I just throw in a title that looks good and I don't know anything about it. Sandman Universe Nightmare Country The Glass House number 2.
They couldn't have shortened that at all.
That is a title, too many subtitles in that for sure. Second Coming Trinity number 2. Silk number 1. New number 1 for Silk. Something Epic number 1. Spawn number 341. Spider-Gwen Shadow Clones number 3. Spider-Man 2099 Dark Genesis #2, Spirit World #1, Star Trek Defiant #3, Star Wars Darth Vader #34, Star Wars High Republic #9, Superman Lost #3, Wildcats #7, Wolverine 33, and X-Men Red #11. Yeah, lots of good stuff going on at your local store. Steve, I ran into you at our local comic book store this past Saturday because it was Free Comic Book Day.
It absolutely was.
What did you acquire at Free Comic Book Day? And have you read any of it? Is it good or anything? What's going on comic-wise in your life?
Free Comic Book Day wise, I grabbed three of the kids' books. They had a Spidey and His Amazing Friends, and these are all the free offerings that all the publishers put out.
Yeah.
But there was a Spidey and His Amazing Friends, a DC book that had a couple of different kids' stories in it, and the Turtles. So we haven't gotten through any of those. That was the three I got for my son because, well, they were the three kids ones.
Yep.
And then I grabbed what did I grab? I think the Avengers and the Star Trek books.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, I think I got the Avengers one. I definitely got the Turtles one, the Batman one. I got those three for sure. And I think my wife grabbed. There's like a Lois Lane book. I think
really?
it's like a teaser for like DC does all these like YA and younger reader graphic novel things that are really great. Like I would point you towards a couple probably if you're looking for more comics to read with your son, or you can borrow some that I have. But they're doing a one for it's YA and it's based on Lois Lane. I think there was a teaser comic for that graphic novel, which is cool.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I mean they were hopping at Funky Town. They were like a lot of them were gone before I got there.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
I know there was like a Star Wars book and stuff that was just gone super fast.
Yeah, and we didn't get there terribly late either.
Yeah, we got there like an hour after it started.
Yep.
But they had a line out the door. So
yeah, they were starting with
shout
a
out to
line out
Funky
there. That
Town.
was great.
Yeah, shout out to them for doing it right.
Oh, I can
grabbed a
say
couple of
they did have a heck of a sale, and I was able to acquire one of the white whales, the original 1977 Star Wars #1.
Yeah. Yes.
That I was able to get for a real good price, and now that is now in the collection. Don't have to worry about it; it's there.
Congratulations!
Yep.
That's amazing. That's really awesome.
I was like a kid in a comic book store. It's like, I found it. It's here, guys. I got it.
Yeah, they have so many back issues
Oh yeah,
at Funky.
Of
There's such a
everything.
deep bench of back issues. It's great. Yeah, and exactly everything. They didn't have any Swamp Thing though. Usually
Really?
they have I didn't see any, and usually they have a good amount of Swamp Thing books.
I know the
didn't see.
X-Men back issues were picked over quite well.
Yeah. I saw someone like I was trying to look at Superman's, and there was this one guy that was just literally going through every single one so slow. I
Yeah.
couldn't wait for him. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna look at Superman stuff anymore. But yeah, they have books from like the 40s and stuff.
Yeah.
it's insane. And I'm just like holding like I don't know some random DC World's Finest or a Shazam book or something that's
Right.
like just so old. I'm just like, this is it. It's
They've
right
got
here.
the original Blue Beetle behind the counter.
Yeah,
on the
they got
wall.
like Blue Beetle #1.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah, can't afford that though, for sure. No.
That's like half a mortgage, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. So like I said, no one shots. It's kind of a slow week. So sorry if this was a bit of a.
I did want to
lackluster
mention
show, but
for any of us local Syracusians, you mentioned the Spider-Man 2099 Dark Genesis.
yeah,
That is currently being written by local boy Steve Orlando. So
that's right.
I may actually be checking that out just to see how he's doing.
Yeah, see how left DC, stopped writing Supergirl and Wonder Woman to go to Marvel and some other.
Yeah, he wrote Marauder, the last Marauders. I don't know if that's still running or not.
Well,
he was definitely
he's
on
doing
that.
Scarlet Witch too, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
He's writing Scarlet Witch, yeah, and Spider-Man.
He's now all over the place apparently.
He's all over the place. He's becoming somebody that can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I think, which is awesome. So yeah, shout out to local boy Steve Orlando. And I think that's it. I don't know. I didn't do a ton of reading. I read some Swamp Thing, and I flipped through a couple free books, but haven't really dug into anything. So
Yeah, I think
I don't
I
know.
caught up on Yoda, and that was about it.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's all I got, Steve. That's all I got. Like I said, kind of a light week. So we were
Yeah.
as tangenty as we could be to fill some time, I think. But I don't know.
Well, we still ended up almost an hour, so it's funny how
That's
that
true.
happens. Plus,
And also, were you just gonna do the same thing I was gonna do? You can do it. I talk too much on these.
you can do it. I can do it. Do you talk first? I talk first. How do we do this?
You can do it. I've said it enough.
So yeah, if you haven't heard, we did a 2.5 hour recap of Star Wars top 11 films live action. Go check that out. Also, just before this, we recorded our reactions to the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 release. Spoiler alert, Mike and I both liked it.
We liked it a lot.
Go see it. If you haven't gone or if you haven't seen it, go. I'm just gonna stop talking. This is why you talk more. If you haven't seen it, go see it. If you haven't listened, go listen. Yeah.
But don't listen before you see it, because we spoil the hell out of it.
And we warn you quite a bit, so you'll probably pick up on the fact that you should not be listening if you run across it.
Yeah. As I mentioned on that episode, I went with my wife, and we happened to be in the same theater that you and your wife were in, which was great. So cool. And before, like on the way to the theater, my wife loves the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. That was like the first Marvel movie she saw that was like, I'm in. This is great. I like this a lot.
Same.
Yeah. And she's like the subsequent ones, likes their appearance in the other films and stuff. But she didn't seem like quite as pumped as I was to go see this one. And I was like, have you fallen out of the favor with this this franchise or whatever? She's like, no. She's like, I feel like I just gotten into a place where I think it's probably because of the pandemic. I haven't been going to the theater that much. Like, I just feel like I don't really care about going to the movie theater. I'd rather just watch it on my couch. Like, I just, it's fun and it's cool to go, but, I'd rather just watch it on the couch. And on the way out, I was like, so pretty cool theatrical experience, huh? She's like, yep, nope, you're right. I much rather would have seen that in a theater than sitting on my couch. Like, so it's that kind of movie, people. It looks great. It's a big, bombastic,
grab your tub of popcorn and enjoy.
Yep, but also has a lot of humor and a lot of heart, for sure. So go listen to our spoiler-filled review of it if you want more than that. But that's all you're gonna get.
Yeah, I can say I was almost in that same boat until like this last week when I saw 3 movies in theaters, and I was like, oh yeah, this is why I do this. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I realized in the last 2 weeks I've seen 4 movies in theaters.
Oh, did you catch Evil Dead Rise?
Evil Dead, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
Perfect.
I liked it a lot.
I'll wait on that one just because.
Sure.
But
yeah, and I'm thinking about like this summer. There's so many movies come out this summer that I want to see. I'm gonna have to skip a couple, which is gonna kill me.
Right.
But like, there's just so much like Mission Impossible, Flash, Blue Beetle. I can't. There was one other movie trailer last night that I was
keep
like,
forgetting that Blue Beetle is coming out.
Yeah, like Dune, Indiana Jones. Like, there's so much like this summer that I'm like, what of those can I not see in a theater? None. I don't know. Like, they all are big theater movies. I don't know. And like, I can't wait till the Flash comes out on, streaming to watch it. Like me, Mike Gibson, Mr. DC guy. No,
it'll be hard enough for you to wait till like Friday.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's all I got, Steve. You got anything else?
No, that's all I got. I'd say if you want to get a hold of us, feel free to hit us up on all the socials, the Multiverse Report, Multiverse Report, or Multiverse RPT on Twitter, themultiverseport.com, multiverseport@gmail.com. Drop us a line, leave us a review, leave us an Apple Podcast review. Really helps out getting more listeners to the pod. And go from there, and we should be in good shape moving forward here.
Yeah, I agree. So until next time, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the multiverse.